some farmers have different techniques to cultivate and get the yield, right? So in those places, I mean, somebody's trying to spoof that, and he can able to get those data and utilize for some other purposes, or he can be do something else. I think he can alter the data and things, I think, will go on. And next layer is that application layer. It's like application attacks which is possible over here, like SQL injection, XSS attacks. I mean, a lot of attacks are there, like in cybersecurity. If you can see, like cross-site scripting attacks and SQL injection, and where we can able to see all the information related to that, whatever data which is shared from the sensors and actuators. So here, if it compromised, I mean that attackers will able to get all those informations related to that. So how do we prevent that? So we can have the strong practices, and often pen testing has to be done, and have the strong authentication mechanisms in place, and we can able to provide security for that. So these are the layers of IoT security, and what are the security mechanisms are in place. Coming to the protocols, like these are the protocols which is involved in IoT. Like if you see that uh, comparisons we are doing, like what are the protocols over here, like MQTT, COAP, and HTTPS, and ZigBee, and LoRaWAN. These are the application protocols which is used in IoT communications, especially like for MQTT, that pub and sub model. So for that, it is using like COAP is a constrained resource constrained application protocol, and that message queuing telemetry protocol, that is the MQTT, and lightweight and pub sub, and suppose where that bandwidth is very low, in that use case, I mean, it is using for suppose if you go to the MQTT, and that use case is that sensors and all, we are going to place it in the agriculture, right? I mean, so those sensors are using this MQTT protocol, and it is transferring that sensing data to the corresponding servers. This characteristics and also, like it is a pub and sub model, where I was specifying that very lightweight and minimal bandwidth, and by default this port is like it is using the 181883, like it is a unencrypted, by default it is unencrypted, there is no encryptions, and it has the very weak authentications. I can have the pcap file for this sample pcap. You can able to see where how the packet is getting uh, transferred from client to that client, in the sense like where here that sends us to the application server. Sorry, yeah. So next is like COAP, where that protocol is a constrained application protocol. That use case is like this is also a kind of a resource constrained devices. It uses this application protocol, and this is a RESTful like HTTP, like HTTP protocol. How it will be like that? It is there, and it is a UDP based. Mm, and plus it uses the that datagram transport layer security for security purpose and security concerns. If you see over here, like it is also has the weak implementations, it is varying, and it has the triple attack vulnerabilities, and resource exhaustion attacks, like so to enable security over here, I mean, we can use the DTLS support, and it also consumes very low power, so it's also good for communication protocols. But as you see, by evolving nature of that hardware capabilities and internet capabilities, and nowadays I think slowly these protocols are all replaced by the Wi-Fi itself, and it has the long range communications, and it is able to support by very tiny devices itself, that Wi-Fi is enabled, and it is able to support, and through normal like Wi-Fi protocols, I mean, we can able to share the information, and which is going on. But still, a lot of IoT devices are all using these IoT protocols, and it is going on. And if you go to the HTTPS, I mean, that you use the dashboards and web services, and are all using this HTTPS. I hope you all have the difference of that HTTP and HTTPS. What is the reason we can go for HTTPS is it provides the security, right? Because earlier days, I mean, all websites and everything is based on HTTP. It's plain text which is goes from client to server and server to client. I mean, if anybody intercepts the traffic, and we can able to get all those informations related to that, and we can able to see even username and passwords, what she type and what he is communicate, and everything we'll able to note it down, and we can go on. But if you see over here, and it's very difficult. If you go with that HTTPS, and it's even if it is encrypted, like earlier it was TLS 1.2 and now it is 1.3 versions, where that strong security will be in place, and one round trip time we can able to have all the security mechanisms in place, and we'll provide the authentications and that CA whatever I have told, instead of the availability and rest of confidentiality, authenticity, and that integrity and everything will be provided by this HTTPS. So another protocol is Zigbee. I think I hope you all know about what is Zigbee. Like this is the protocol which is mostly used in home environment, where that short ranges devices will be used. It's a very low power and mesh networks with short ranges. On it supports up to like uh, uh, what to say, like it's suppose on 100 meters distance. I mean, it will support it, and it will able to send the data. And mostly it use cases for home automation purposes, and the security aspects, I mean, AES 120 by 128-bit support it is there, and power it consumes very low power. And LoRaWAN, uh, it is another protocol which is mainly used for agriculture sensors over large areas, like to it covers so long range. It's supports around 2 to 15 kilometers distance. I mean, it's consumes very low power, years on battery, and encrypted by design. So security concerns, if you see over here in this LoRaWAN protocol, it's a kind of um, if the network server compromises, it affects all devices, and suppose for example over the air attacks which is possible over here, and we need to secure those servers which is in place. I mean, it should not impact the devices which is connected with the server. So these are all the communication protocols which we see in this related to agriculture. If you see some protocol choices, so what are the protocols will be uh, related to agricultural specificity for soil sensors in the field. I mean, definitely it will be we can go for this LoRaWAN, like long range, and it consumes only less power, and we can use it for uh, that purposes. And another one is that suppose for example MQTT also helpful for some greenhouse controllers and real time. It is because it's MQTT over TLS support will be there. So security aspects, I mean, it is a very good protocol. And for environmental aspects, I mean, if any sensors we are going to keep it for environmental and temperatures we wanted to keep having. So for that, I think maybe we can go for COAP, that constrained application protocol, where it will be give the because uh, what to say, like it's a kind of UDP, so it don't even have any connections, like it's just sending the temperatures, like even every 5 minutes once it has to send the temperatures. So it's a kind of UDP protocol. It will not listen for any responses, and it will send it like that. It's keep on sending the temperatures to the server. So coming to the next slide, I mean, we can coming to the uh, uh, IoT security vulnerabilities. Like, what are the common vulnerabilities which is present in the IoT security? If you see that here, so weak authentication and unencrypted communications. Weak authentication is default credentials. If we see that, how many of you will accept it? Like we can always have in systems like, for example, uh, your organization name at 123. your organization name 1234. I mean, that is the default passwords is always we are going to keep it over there. So it's very easy to brute force, and some attackers will able to get into your network, your systems, and he can able to do whatever he wanted, right? So these are all the weak authentication mechanisms are there, and how do we prevent that? I mean, those things we can see it later. So first I will go with that common vulnerabilities which are all present. So unencrypted in communications. Most of the IoT devices are all not with encrypted channels. It's are all unencrypted communications like data and transit, which is exposed. Like so, whatever data which is tran- transferred, somebody will intercept, and we can able to see what kind of communications which is going on. And another one is that insecure interfaces. So where that web and mobile application vulnerabilities uh, or there uh, another one is that outdated firmwares we are not patch the firmwares. Like if you see that, I mean, some of the sensors which is placed and we forget about that, and it's very older sensors and it's not updated or not security patches, nothing was incorporated into that, and it's keep sending only data, but it is vulnerable for a lot of attacks. So these are all the outdated firmwares which are all available, and plus physical security like device tampering risks, and such side channel analysis attacks, like where we can able to get the devices in physically, and we can do the probe the timing and EM radiations, and how do we deceive the keys and extract the keys from that device, suppose if it is encrypted, and how that encryption is done, and based on the power consumption and timing variations, and we can able to extract the keys of that encryption models. So these are the common vulnerabilities which are all present in IoT ecosystems. Where if you see here, like weak authentication, if you see that 30% of the devices are all having the weak authentications, and unencrypted communications, if you see that 25%, and insecure APIs like application interfaces, where that sensors and that particular, for example, if your trip irrigations, you have that applications, that application is vulnerable. In that case, if it is that system itself is compromised, right? So that is 20 percentage, and outdated firmware related thing is 15 percentage, and physical attacks is also is kind of around 10 percentage. I mean, this is the threat landscape chart. If we are able to see over here in IoT ecosystems, I mean, these are all the things which is happening. Let's be honest, like IoT security is often terrible, right? Why that? I mean, vendor prioritize time to market, right? I mean, they will not concentrate much about security. If you see, even before 10 years before, I think nobody will talks about security aspects. I mean, availability and service is most important, so everybody will focus on that, and they are given now. But IoT devices, if you see, has a long lifespans. Uh, like it's even years we can place in the sensors, and it keeps sending some data, and uh, mostly the people that manufacturers is looking for that service aspects. I mean, not in the security aspects. So there is a lack of security expertise, and they are not focusing on the secure coding practices, or if any vulnerability is present over there, and how they are going to prevent our mechanisms by built-in. They are not providing in the IoT ecosystems. So now a
Hello.
lot of stand. Hello.
Uh, so this is Professor Dr. Naveen Hati. So this
Yes, sir.
vulnerabilities data which you are sharing, percentage wise, you have shown the threat landscapes card.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, what is the authentication of this data, sir? Is it from some report
Sir,
or
sir,
what is the
no, sir.
real thing?
I have not mentioned that sources. I think I got it from internet available sources. I mean, where that related to this IoT threat landscapes. I mean, from there I got it.
Okay.
But if you see
Okay.
that, these are all the variations. If you see that this kind of vulnerabilities, this landscapes, that if you go with that, like what you say, that authentication of these informations, definitely it's so. Maybe slight variations will be there, but I'm sure that maybe this, as I see, like outdated firmware, that is very less percentage. But if we see in practical aspects, a lot of devices are all not updated properly and regularly. Likewise, these weak authentications. Hello.
Sir, my query that when we talk about physical security, as
Mm-hmm.
you have mentioned, device tampering risks are there. So
Mm-hmm.
because as far as this greenhouse activities and all are concerned, so how
Yes,
this can be assured that device tampering doesn't take place? Because this is something which is already being monitored 24 by 7.
correct. No, monitoring in the sense like
Because that authentication is already being taken care of, what devices are there, whether they are following the protocol. On the dashboard itself, we are there, and physical activities are also being monitored. So the
yes, correct.
chances will be.
Correct. Suppose, for example, so in this real world use cases, if you see that someone will clone the devices. I mean, they can exfiltrate the data from not only to you. I think they can able to exfiltrate the data to some other service also. It will able to communicate. So that kind of vulnerabilities we can able to inject into the devices. So that is why I think in hardware level, some of the secure boot mechanisms, or if HSM modules will be get into place, and we can have some more security mechanisms in place, and to prevent those kind of physical tampering attacks.
Maybe
If
at
you,
edge node or cloud, when data is being shared there, they can, I think so.
yes, yes, sir, that is also possible from device also. Suppose if suppose if any one of the nodes will compromised, I mean it act as a malicious node. So that malicious node, because bots, it will affect the neighboring nodes, and that node will be get compromised. From that node, other node will be getting compromised. Like that, I think it is possible. So the data also will exfiltrated from that device, from that sensors, or from that device edge nodes, edge devices, if we call it as. From there to servers, maybe some other services will also able to get the data from that devices.
Oh,
So that is also is
right.
possible.
Thank you for
Yes.
details.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So, coming to the IoT attacks aspects, I mean, we can see the some of the common IoT attack types, where we can see the DOS and botnets, and MIT, a man in the middle attacks, and device hijacking. And if we see that uh, device hijacking and ransomware in IoT ecosystems, and data interceptions. These are the common IoTs. Not only this, I think we have many attack scenarios, or attack types which are all possible in IoT aspects. And finally, how we can able to prevent these kind of attacks, and how do we monitor to prevent to give the alarms to the applications, or if the security administrators are in place, and how do we know that these are the attacks which has happened, and it's going to be. So in that case, I mean, these are the common. I have listed some very few common attack types, which we can go with one by one, like DOS and botnet attacks, where that attacks infect large number of IoT devices and use them to overwhelm and crash target systems with massive traffic. You all understands about what is DOS attacks. Somebody will try to infect the IoT devices, and keeps on sending the request. For example, I'll say some web server is there. I'm just the example I'm saying, not for understanding. I am not taking the IoT like web server, where we are keep on sending some huge request, and it is not able to give the proper response. I mean, we can able to crash the server, right? So likewise, I mean, it is possible for that IoT aspects, and devices as well. I mean, we can able to make the devices to deny, I mean, not providing the services, and like that. I mean, we can down the services of those devices. That is possible. And if you go to the man in the middle attack, MITM, if you see that how it actually works, that attacker positions themselves between the IoT devices and a server. He will intercept all the packets, all the communications which has happened, and most of the IoT devices are all unencrypted communications. So he can able to read, and he can able to modify the data. And suppose, for example, you can change the sensor readings, I mean, whatever devices which is located and placed, and it sends and sent it across, right? So that can be monitored, and he can able to hijack, or sorry, he can able to modify it, and go on. If you see that, suppose, for example, somebody is intercepting the video streams, and he can able to watch the live footages. is it right? Suppose somebody is doing the man in the middle, and he compromise the CCTV channel, and he will able to intercept all the data, and he will able to monitor that live footages. So, and suppose there are like passive MATM also is there, and active MATM also is there. Like somebody will manipulate traffic, and that changes the readings. I mean, whatever that sensors it sends, and it's a kind of flaw which can able to give the impact. Like irrigation systems will think that, I mean, suppose for example, if drip irrigations, I mean, the attacker will trying to hack that, and he will able to change the data, and sometimes that crops will not get the water itself. So obviously it will get die, and from drought, right? I mean, there is no water poured, and because wrong data, if it is given, so it's a kind of attacks which is possible over there. Another one is like uh, that device hijacking, where that attacker gains unauthorized control of the IoT device and allowing them to misuse or manipulate it. I mean, that is possible. And ransomware is IoT ecosystems. I mean, this is a very interesting attack vectors in place, where if you see that in IoT ecosystems. So, but nowadays, it's what to say, like lot of uh, uh, attacks which has happened related to ransomware attacks. I hope all of you are aware about that. What is ransomware attack? It's a kind of attack which will uh, lock the system. Suppose your application, smart agriculture ecosystem applications server is compromised, and he wanted, suppose that system only has all the related informations about that huge ecosystems. Centralized server is there, and centralized server which is affected with this ransomware attack. What will happen? Because the data, everything, he will able to get control, and he will able to threaten the organizations, or if any sectors say that, I mean, he's going to be disclose all the available data which is stored in that server, and plus he lock the systems, and it is inaccessible, and nobody will able to get this data or see the data, and he is threatening that user, and we need to pay the ransom money to unlock the devices or to restore the system. So that is the kind of attack which is called as a ransomware attack. So that is also
Sir,
possible in. Hello. Yes.
Tirupati sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Sir, in this ransomware, I think if, you can correct me if I'm not if I'm wrong. I think this ransomware is possible only for these non-IP devices which we are using in IoTs, or is it specific to all devices? It can go for ransomware
Sir,
because
not for.
attackers are always looking for
Yes, yes, sir.
non-IP systems which we are using.
Correct, correct. So what I was mean over here, like it is not related to that suppose edge devices, where that applications which is hosted, that application servers, like where the data is collected and where the processing is taken place. So those servers will be compromised by the ransomware attack. Some attackers will try to hijack that hijack in the sense, I mean, he can compromise with that ransomware attack, and he will threaten the user to pay the ransom money for huge number of amount of money to enable the services. So this is mostly happened in the server side aspects, I mean, where the data is getting processed and places, because
Or
this is the
can
kind of
they
suppose
do it?
devices and all, it is not possible, because suppose for example sensor devices, or if any other sensors which is placed, I mean, those places, I mean, this attacks which is very difficult to
Maybe a
go
sort
on.
of gateway hacking you are talking, sir.
Correct. Gateway, or suppose where this data is processed, right? So suppose, for example, in cloud it is getting stored in one of the cloud server. So where all the
Okay.
sensors is sharing those informations, and it is stored in the cloud. So there, this kind of attacks is possible, and that attackers will threaten the organization to say that, I mean, he will if he is not able to uh, pay within the time limit. Suppose 24 hours durations, I mean he has to pay that amount, otherwise he can threaten that, I mean he's going to disclose that informations to the public. So like that, I mean that kind of attack is, this is called ransomware attacks.
Can they go for this network sniffing or maybe device spoofing also? They can go for ransom.
Device spoofing.
Maybe just a sort of somewhere impersonating maybe a legitimate device to intercept your manipulation data.
That is related to MITM attack, sir. That is not a kind of ransomware. Ransomware attack is a kind of attack where they will target the stored datas. I
Mm.
mean, especially because
Maybe
where the
gateway
data is
also.
getting stored, that data will be encrypted. You will not able to see anything over there. If you are, suppose for example scenario, I will say, sir, like you have a system laptop in your hand. So in that
Mm,
laptop, you have all secure files. Everything is stored in your laptop. What I will
mm.
do, I will write a script and I will encrypt all the data, whatever it is in your laptop,
Okay.
whatever files it is in your laptop. I will encrypt
Got
everything. If you are going and wanted to see any files or if anything, if you click it, I mean it will show the display saying that your system is hacked and you have to pay this much amount. I will give the link to you. Through that link you have to pay that amount. Once it is
okay.
paid, then only I am unencrypted the data, and that is also not sure. You are, how do you guarantee that, I mean if you are paying that amount, how he will able to release that data?
Mm,
That is also
mm,
not possible. Most of the ransomware attacks will be like they will threaten you and they will not give the key back, because otherwise, if that is
mm.
the case, that key has to be stored in the system itself. Then only we will able to
Okay.
unlock the systems. If he is sharing the key, some way, I think we will able to track him and we will able to identify who is that. So most of the ransomware attacks, what they will do, once they will say that, I mean you have to pay, if you pay it, and I will release that files and whatever it is encrypted. But finally he will not do that. So this is how
So
this
what
attack
is
will
the
happen.
best possibility to avoid it? The best option?
Yes, sir. Yes. Oh, to prevent that, definitely you should have the proper backup mechanisms to be in place. So, and also there is a antivirus, I mean, that will keep
Okay.
monitoring the devices where if any form of encryption will happen routinely. For example, ransomware use cases. What is the purpose of if you are you have a laptop? In the laptop, I mean, all files will get encrypted. So that encryption, some process will be running. So
Okay.
those process and all, it is monitored and it will alert and it will block those services. Suppose if any exes are running to do this kind of activities, will be mitigated by the antivirus tools. So that is why we should have the proper endpoint solutions in place to mitigate these kind of attacks. Because nowadays these attacks are all very common. Because
Mm,
most of the people, the target is by the attackers is like either they want to get benefit about money, or some form of some people will go on like they want to target some country wise targets, I mean they want to defame that. So in that aspects, mostly the people will be work for money aspects. So in that case, this ransomware is the best example and best weapon for them to get the money from the victims. So that is how this ransomwares and all evolves. And these services and all nowadays, like most of the people will offer as a service. Like if I am a genuine hacker, so like I have a knowledge and I know that how to build a ransomware software, and I can build the software and sell it for some amount of rupees to some people. Those people's, what they will do, they don't know about the ransomware, what it is happening and what it does. Just they will use it as a service, like they will spread across and they will collect the money and they will give the share to the that author who developed that ransomware. So likewise it
right.
is happening nowadays. So
Right, sir.
it's we have to be very careful about these kind of attacks which is happen.
Right, sir.
Mm.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So another one is like data interceptions. Like if you see that, and attackers that captures unencrypted data transmitted between IoT devices, and from this also they can able to steal sensitive information of data, whatever it is happening. So these are the common attacks which have I have specified over here. I mean, it's not like these are the only attacks which has happened in IoT ecosystems. Uh, so coming to the next slide, we can go. So the security framework of IoT ecosystems is, if you see that, so first is that device security and network security and data security and application security and physical security. So device security aspects, if we see that there is a secure boot mechanisms, what are the frameworks which we are able to have in IoT ecosystems, like secure boot mechanisms will be one aspects of device security, and firmware security should be in place. So if you coming to the network security aspects, definitely we should have the proper segmentations. I mean, these are the things which I'm speaking for the suppose where that that's servers which is in place. I mean, how do we taken care of those aspects? And network security aspects, if you see that proper segmentation should be there and IDS IPS should be there, and to see the intrusion detection systems and prevention systems should be in place, like if any intrusions happen, how do you prevent that, and everything should be there. Like if you see the data security aspects, I mean, that data should be encrypted, it should not be kept it as a plain. Suppose if you take it as a ransomware case use case, suppose if you are having your data with an encrypted form, even they are encrypted also, they will not able to publish your data publicly. If he is, because you should have the backup of the data, but the data is very confidential for confidential informations you are having in your files. So those files, they disclose, you can see the impact and how it will happen, because your confidential information will be leaked, right? So to ensure that, I think we should have the proper security mechanisms in place, and to do the encryptions, and have that proper life cycle of the data security. And going to the application security, if you see like there is a secure coding practices we have to follow it for applications, because there are a lot of vulnerabilities which are all present in applications security aspects, because that APIs which we are providing, there are a lot of security vulnerabilities are all there. And uh, suppose example like SQL injection, and somebody will do the brute forcing. Suppose you have a username and password field, there I can have the possibility of giving the scripts, additional scripts over there, and I can able to bypass the username and passwords. So definitely we should follow the secure coding practices while developing any applications, and make sure that application is tested and it should be go for production environment. Because just like that, we are buying some applications and we are using, and if it is vulnerable, I mean, we are bound to leak the uh, informations to the outside world, or other attackers are able to compromise our systems. So coming to the physical security, if you see that, I mean, there are tamper detection mechanisms and location monitoring, and we should have the unique identifiers. Like you can see that IoT aspects. I mean, we can have the lot of device identifications mechanisms without directly impacting of the systems. I mean, we can collect the traffics, and from the traffic, I mean, how we'll able to identify the devices. So those aspects we can able to have it. So especially if you see that in IoT security aspects, I mean, that not only in IoT, in IT or OT security and all aspects, I mean, that we should always have a difference in depth approach. Like in our home, how do we have that all the aspects of security? Like we have a gate, and then main door, and we have a bureau, locker, and everything, or in the step by step security we are having, right? Likewise for our uh, data also, we should have that kind of security mechanisms in place to prevent all such kind of attacks which is we spoke earlier. So this is how this IoT security frameworks looks like. And if we go to that yeah so we'll go to the each mechanisms, like the device level security mechanisms, that secure boot I have spoke, right? I mean, related to this, if you see that cryptographic verifications of firmware at boot level, and it prevents the unauthorized core executions as well. And aware that hardware security module, like where the dedicated crypto processor are in place for key storage and operations, etc. I mean, these are all the mechanisms which we speak about, not the sensors. I'm speaking over here, because sensor is very tiny and it's not resource. These are those are all resource constrained, where This kind of mechanisms we should not be having in those places, but in other aspects like where the storage server or in IT ecosystems which is placed in the data center, where that all IoT sensor data and collected somewhere in, and they are doing the processing and they're going to take a decision. So those places, I think we can apply this kind of those devices. We can apply these kind of mechanisms in place. And TE usually, if you see that all OS and things, I mean, we can have the trusted execution environment and place. So we can isolate secure area for sensitive operations. For some sensitive operations we are doing, those things will be get executed in this TE environment, and it will be protected from the main OS. Suppose if it is compromised, also even though that OS or if any system is getting compromised, that critical components which is executed, that is in trusted execution environment. And secure firmware updates where that code signing, rollback protections, and encrypted options will be provided over there. And physical tamper detections where the sensor detects physical intrusions, automatic data erasure of a breach if anything happens. And unique device identity, this is a very important thing because we need to identify each and every devices, IoT devices, and unique way. How we can able to do that? I mean, we can have the proper authentication mechanisms in place, like for each and every device identifications. Like suppose if you see in physical sorry, in the security aspects, there are user authentication, user identity, and device identity, and all aspects we can combine it and we can do. Like suppose if you're having mobile, in that mobile, uh, we can have the multi-factor authentication, uh, username and password and OTPs and biometric, all aspects we are having, right? I mean, likewise, I think for this device identity, we should have that certificate-based authentications and unique IDs of that device, and everything will be combined, and we can do the authentications, and we can make sure that, I mean, that is the device which is sending the data. So likewise, we can go for device level security mechanisms. And if we go to the network security, maybe we have another 25 minutes time. Maybe we are running out of time. I think I can go for uh, quicker way, like network security for IoT, like network segmentations and intrusion detection systems and encryption protocols and traffic monitoring. Like network segmentations means like we should have the proper segmentation. Suppose you have a collection of IoT devices in place, so where we can able to properly segment those IoT devices, and we can segregate the networks. Like suppose for example, some of the soil sensors should not, sorry, someone mic is on, I think.
Participants, please mute your mic. Sir, you are not audible. Mic is muted.
Hello. Sorry. I think I don't
Hello,
know how
sir.
it was. Now it is audible, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
audible,
sir.
sir, audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I missed out that ideas. I mean, where the TA and ML techniques maybe will be used for IoT sectors. And encryption protocols, if we see that, I mean, TLS 1.3 for transport security and UDP based, I mean, TTLS and for VPN tunnels,
And
mostly
slides
supposed to access.
also not visible.
Slides is not visible, ma'am.
No, sir.
Okay, let me share once
Please
again other things.
please start with network
Okay.
segmentation actually.
Oh, 1 second. Now, now we are able to see the slide, or slide itself is not visible.
Not visible,
Visible
sir.
sir now. Authentication access control slide.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Hello.
Previous slide was missed.
1 second, sir. I will go to that slide. Now it is visible, sir.
It is authentication and access control.
Still, it is in authentication and access control.
Yes, sir.
1 second, sir. Actually, I'm changing. I don't know. It is not.
Sir, otherwise you can log out and log in again.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I will
Rejoin.
do that. 1 second, ma'am. Now it is coming.
No, sir.
Now it is
Oh,
okay,
still.
sir. Network security and for IoT. Right.
Yeah, now network security for IoT it is there, right? Yeah,
Yes.
network segmentations. I think I have. Yeah, here. So maybe I have completed that, and maybe my mic muted, and it is happened disturbed. Right. Anyway, fine. So we'll go on. So that intrusion detection systems where that we can have the behavior analysis of a network. I mean, data which are collected. I mean, we can do the analysis of those data. I mean, we can able to detect if any anomaly is present over there, and by doing so, and we can able to alert the administrator, or if anyone who is handling that, I think he can able to identify if any intrusion is happened or not. So that is the intrusion detection systems in place for the network security aspects in IoT, and also that communications. I mean, it should be encryptions, like what we see in the earlier slides, that protocols which are all how that IoT protocol security has to be in place, for transport layer. I mean that TLS 1.3 for transport layer security and DTLS for UDP based protocols, and we can see also MQTT, COAP protocols, and as well as ZigBee and LoRaWAN. What are the security mechanisms should be in place? I mean, those things has to be ensured while if any data in transit. And plus traffic monitoring. This is a very good feature where really need of the hour. We should keep monitoring the data, whatever it is happening, and if any changes in the behavioral aspects, or if anything happened, or bandwidth monitoring and tracking the connections informations, and from that we can able to identify if any anomalies or if any attack is going to happen. I mean, those things we can able to identify, and we can try to prevent those things. So this is the security aspects of an network security aspects for IoT, and authentication and access control. Coming to this slide, I think that authentication methods. What are the different type of authentication methods are in place? Like if you see over here, certificate-based authentications, like where that point 509 certificates and PKI infrastructures should be in place to provide this certificate-based authentication, where uh, that authenticity will be provided based on the certificates, like whereas the root CA will be provided a certificate to the users, and where he has to prove that, I mean, he is the authorized person to share the informations, or access the informations. So in that case, the certificate based authentication will be played a very good role. And token based, if you see that there are a lot of single sign-on supports, if you see, and jailability tokens, or some token mechanisms. What to see? Suppose there are user authentication, session authentications, and that token will be generated, that will be shared to the user whenever he is going for accessing any services. He has to give the tokens. If token is getting expired, again he has to refresh the tokens, and he has to authenticate once again, and this way, this token-based authentication mechanisms will provide the security. And if you go to the multi-factor authentications, like definitely each devices should have this kind of multi-factor authentications to avoid the compromising. Suppose brute force kind of attacks will be prevented by this kind of multi-factor authentication. So, for example, in the use cases, I can say that, and you have a username and password only, username and password authentication. You're going to give your username and password. It can be easily predicted because most of the users will having the some name at 123 or something. I think if you see, I think whoever, I don't know whoever is connected over here, most of the people are having in your laptop password will be your name at 123 or your name at 123 for easily judgeable, and we can able to brute force it and we can able to compromise that. Suppose in that case, if it is binded with one more authentication mechanism, if you see that once you will receive the OTP, then only if even though if you are giving the username and password with that OTP only you are able to log in. And another one is like biometric or PIN. Uh, like those things has to be in place. So these are authentication methods are available, and access control models. If you see that role-based access control for user permissions and attribute-based with the contextual policies and zero trust mechanisms, and these are all the mechanisms you should be having. Like role-based means, I mean, some of the users has this kind of access, some of the users don't have this kind of users. I mean access. So the kind of roles-based access should be provided, so that only I think, for example, managers should have the access of all the information related to that that all sensors informations I wanted to see. Some top level people will able to see, but routine supervisors will not able to see or have control to uh, do any changes over there. I mean, like that like that kind of permission should be enabled over there. So attribute based, like based on some attributes, I think we can give the access. And zero trust mechanisms. I mean, it's a kind of don't trust anyone, like never trust anything. Like always, we can verify that whatever it comes. So these are the mechanisms we should be have in place. And data security and privacy in IoT, like if you see that data at rest and data at transit and data in use. So what are the security aspects? I mean, you have to be concentrate on the data, because now if you see that in IoT aspects, the data is more most important thing. Like that information is wealth, like that contains a lot of confidential or effective information which is useful for further processing. So how do you secure those data? This is very important thing. If you see over here, like data at rest, I mean, if you see that AES 256 encryptions and encrypted storage, sorry, uh, and key management and secure deletion of the data. Suppose we should not always keep the data. Suppose that device is malfunction and we are giving the device to the any external parties. I mean, he can able to see the data, and we should ensure that, I mean, we should delete and everything, and we should hand it over the systems like that. So that is the kind of secure deletion options. And the key management, we need to manage the key properly, store the key in the encrypted way. Nobody will able to see the key, so that if key is compromised, I mean, your data is compromised. So likewise, if you coming to the data in transit, rest is data is storage at how we can able to ensure the security over there. Transit is like the data communication from sensors to your agriculture sensor, some soil sensor to the server, that in transit. How do we ensure that security? So we should have the proper encryption over the transport layer, and a lot of other points like certificate pinning and forward secrecy. We should ensure that perfect forward secrecy. It means like we should not reuse the feature things, like what to say, like he should not use earlier data to get use that, and he should not go for that. uh, 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 and if you go to the certificate pinning, like where that applications, I mean, hard codes the specific suppose it is certificates or public key. So it is hard coded into that. I mean, nobody will able to intercept or modify, or it's a kind of mechanisms where that to where it is prevent that man in the middle attacks. Even if your CA issues certificate is compromised, I mean forged, if it is forged, so in that case also it will able to withstand with that. I mean, so that is the concept called the certificate pinning mechanisms. And data is in use like it is, you understand about data and at rest. It is a storage security, and data in transit is transit security, transport security. We have what is in data in use. Suppose you think about you have a computer systems and where the data is getting processed, right? In those process time, if there is a leakage in data, so what will happen? So how do we ensure that these are all the requirements where the critical data is where it's coming into picture, and how do we do the enforce the security mechanisms at data in use. Suppose your processor is using the data to process something and it will going to give the report, right? So in those times, I mean, that memory level encryptions we can enable it, and secure enclaves and access control mechanisms and runtime protections has to be provided to make sure that, I mean, data use time, that any such kind of issues will not happen. So the data minimizations, I mean, collect only. So how do we prevent those things like collect only necessary data? Unnecessary data, I mean, we should not have because it should lead some attack surface, attack surfaces, and as well as the privacy risk are there. I mean, because we should not have all the data related to that, and that may not be important for you, but it will may be useful for some other people. But so in those cases it will be very difficult. I mean, you are unknowingly you are revealing some data to others. So only always we should go for some necessary data we should collect it. And anonymizations, I mean, privacy, I mean, we should have the pseudonymization of data. So where that suppose for example that important data are there in, maybe you can see in the healthcare sectors, the patient information is very much confidential, right? I mean, nobody should able to know about that patient data or something. In IoT scenarios, like where that the sensors will collect all the data and it is stored in the centralized aspects. I mean, where the data is getting processed, and if it is not pseudonymization, and it is plain text, I mean, it is visible as it is, like all the records will be able to see, and it leaks the privacy, right? So that aspects, I mean, always employ the pseudonymization and differential privacy techniques, like where that partial information that searching happens, we should not have that searching techniques on the encrypted data. I mean, so those kind of techniques we can involve. But these are all the things is required where the critical or privacy high risk data. I mean, though those places, I mean, we can employ these kind of techniques and we can prevent attacks over there. And data lifecycle, like we should have the secure creations and storage and sharing and archival and releases policies should be proper. We should have the storage mechanisms. I mean, backup should be for 3 months, after which automatically it will get deleted. And archival, like 3 months only we should have. More than that, I think we should not have it. I mean, deletion policies. I mean, how much data, how much time we should keep the data in the archival. So those things and all we should be taken care, because unnecessarily I think we are keeping the data in place, and sometimes we don't need the data, but past history data will be useful for some other purposes, and with which may lead for the attacks. I mean, that is possible. So if we go to the security standards, maybe we are running out of time. I think I will go and complete as soon as possible. Like these are the frameworks. If you see over here, Data Protection Acts and HIPAA, and WASP Top 10, IoT common vulnerabilities and the risks which is there, and ETSI, and these are the European standard things. Like Indian also has some of the standards related to this IoT security aspects. Uh, I'll take a water. Sorry, yeah, we'll go to that. I think these are all the security frameworks and compliances which is followed. And if you go to the next, this AI powered IoT security. So what are the AI techniques? I think these are all the sources I can took it from the internet, where this AI security impact chart, like threat detections and other percentages of and response time, how AI impacts over here. So anomaly detections, I mean, you can see that, and ML models detect unusual behavior patterns and real time. Like suppose in the anomaly detections, how it will be, like if you are going with the signatures, I mean, we can have the specific signatures and we'll able to identify the attacks which has happened. But in the anomaly detections, that AI and ML techniques, it will go beyond that. Like no need of having the signatures. It will see the data, and based on the data sets, and it will able to uh, identify the patterns in that. Like suppose we can use the deep learning models, or if any neural networks, or if any other ML techniques in place, and we can able to do much more uh, uh, extraction of the features, and it will have the multiple what to say, like patterns which involved for the detection of the anomalies which is present in the network traffic. So there, this anomaly detections will comes into picture, and it will able to identify the unusual behaviors, and will able to identify the attacks which has happened. So likewise, this predictive securities, like AI predicts potential vulnerabilities before exploit. Definitely, we are sure that. I like automated responses. I mean, AI-driven incident response and threat mitigations are available. Like it automatically detects and responds for those attacks. And behavior analytics, where that user and entity behavior analysis of incident threats. So suppose in IoT, in that agriculture ecosystems, you can see that, I mean, if any of the nodes which are all compromised, and that behavior will be monitored, and we can able to easily identify and isolate the malicious nodes in the networks, and by using these AML techniques, and we can have the, I think for this, I think we need a huge amount of data sets. So based on that, I mean, we can able to predict the behavioral aspects of the nodes, and we can able to isolate the malicious nodes which are all implanted in the IoT ecosystems, or in any agriculture ecosystems, or in healthcare ecosystems, or smart cities, or in any aspects. I mean, we should monitor the behavior, and we can able to provide a security for that using these AI techniques. So some of the self-healing systems are available, like automated patching and configuration management will be done automatically by AI. So this, I think, a lot of improvisation is required in AI, because it's not 100% accuracy is not provided by a lot of false positives are coming, and a lot of research which work is going on to the reduce the false positives, or false negatives, I think, which is going on. So by this, this is the one. Like if you go for this is blockchain security for IoT things, like how we can have the decentralized trust mechanisms, and tamper-proof records. I mean, suppose if any of the records is compromised, so in that case, I mean, we can use this blockchain model, and we can able to secure the data. I mean, which is collected from the IoT ecosystems. The use cases, I think, we can able to identify the device management, and firmware updates. We can use this blockchain, and supply chain security, like it's very important, because assume that, I mean, that while manufacturers, and it will deliver to that products will be given to the distributor, those packaging time, or sometimes, I mean, that attack, that system is getting compromised. Your device is suppose, for example, you recently knows that, I mean, that Israel, that pager attacks, like that implanted the and the chip level, that like micro grams, like they have implanted in that. They have some 1 second, sir, sorry. Okay, so I think we are running out of time. Sorry for this delay. I think I have many slides to go on, but another few slides. I will directly go to the that demo part where I have the PCAPs and I will show how the security impacts and how we can able to see the username and password like that. So future trends in IoT security is like we should have the quantum cryptography and edge securities and zero trust IoT, hardware root of trust, and privacy preserving AIs and regulatory evaluations. And case studies, if you see related to agriculture ecosystems, I mean, you can oversee here like a dairy farm ransomware attack. Actually, earlier we spoke about the ransomware attack, right? I mean, this is the kind of one dairy farm was affected and Northern Europe where that phishing email to the administrator, that administrator takes that link, that ransomware was affected the systems, and it was affected that automated milking robots and feeding systems. Those it has that that entire ecosystem was shut down for 48 hours. You can see, imagine that how it was happened. Like that impact is like a complete shutdown of robotic milking systems and manual milking required. You see that, I mean, suppose a very huge server farm, I mean, dairy farms, I mean, how this kind of attacks which happens, I mean, how the financial loss as well as that manpower requirement and every aspects, I mean, we need to concern, right? Because we don't have the proper manpower to suppose 2000 3000 cows are there, I mean there how do we able to milking from that cows, like it's very difficult, right? I mean this kind of disruptions will happen. So total financial loss, I think it is like kind of around $150 thousands dollars, I think it is happening. Like another case study is like a smart greenhouse climate hack, like where that commercial greenhouse in the United States, like they compromise the VPN with default credentials, and it affected the irrigations, line lightning control. And you see that, I mean, detection time, it is detected after 72 hours after the initial breach was happened. So these are the common some ecosystems like GPS spoofing. Like now you recently knows these kind of attacks which has happened in the aircraft, like a lot of aerospace, like aeroplanes was affected by this GPS spoofing. This was happened in 2002 itself, like 2022 itself, in that autonomous tractors or with any drones which are all there, like which is in happened in Australia. Like because in India it is very small land. I mean, but autonomous parts which is not coming full form, but in Australia and so places, I mean, they're having a very huge land capacity where everything is automated and they are fully with relay with these IoT ecosystems where these kind of attacks will be happening. So these are the best practices we should go on, like security by design and defense in depth, and we should have the least privileges. So how and secure by defaults, and continuous monitoring is required, and regular updates should be provided, and instant response plan should be there, and security awareness. I'm sure that I will share these slides to you. Like maybe if any doubts, I think you can go on. Some hands-on activity I was planned actually. Just I will quickly I will rush up and I will go on. Like suppose if you have the maybe I'm totally get into most of the attack scenarios. Like if something happens in the IoT ecosystems, how I can able to identify that. I have the sample PCAPs, like where the maybe everyone aware about that. What is the uh, 1 second? I'll go to the files. Recaps. Yeah. So here you can see that maybe I already opened that. Yeah. This is one. This is not. Or I can open. Yeah. You are able to see the packets, or are you able to see the network packets? No, or still in the slides.
No, sir.
It is still in the slide. 1 second, sir.
Yes, sir.
I will stop sharing. I will share the entire window, maybe entire screen. So now I'll go to. I think now it is visible. Hello. Can you please confirm once?
No, sir. No,
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 still
sir.
not.
It is not visible.
Oh, I have shared. I have shared my entire screen.
No, sir. It is not visible.
Now you are able to see the screen now. Any screens which is
No,
showing
sir.
over there. Now you are able to see one few packets like time, source, destination, protocol.
No, no,
No,
no.
sir.
Nothing. Okay, 1 second, sir. I will stop sharing and 1 second I will show. Mm, Sir, is it now? It is visible. Hello.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Now it is visible, right? Yeah. Can you able to see now on tool which I am able to see like time, source, destination, protocol.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ah,
Visible.
So now you can see. I mean, this is the sample P capture where I think this is very useful for you. Like, I mean, whoever is interested in related to security aspects, I mean, you have to capture the traffic from that sensors to the application. Suppose you are able to capture either in the gateway level or in the server level, you can capture these data and you can able to see. Suppose I can explain those things, right? Like first from suppose source is this, destination is this. I think I think I think please mute your mic, ma'am, so that accordingly maybe I will complete within another 5 minutes time. Please. So here, uh, sorry. So here, if you see here, there is a three-way handshake which is happened. After which there is the connect command. Your device is getting connected with that. Your sensor is connected with that server, where you can able to see the plain text. Here, that connect command, you can able to see here. Suppose I am clicking over here. That username and password you can able to see over the plain text. This is where that encryption is required. So this handshake will happen, afterwards this encryption will comes into picture. This will be scribbled text, but now this is the plain text. If you're able to see over here, where that admin username is admin and password will be password 123. This is the plain information which is shared from the client to the server. Likewise, I think whatever that is the reason we are always expecting someone to send, or this is the kind of data communication level security we have to look into that. What it means is like everything is going into the plain text. Suppose whatever passwords and usernames you are typing, and if I am able to, I'm capable enough to see the traffic, so I can able to see all the informations like this. This is the username and password of the systems. You can see here admin and password 123. This is the username and password. He said this is the temperature sensor data. The protocol will be used as a MQTT, and it is for temperature sensor. The temperature sensor that authentication is like admin username and password is password 123. So this is how I think I can able to compromise the systems with this username and password, and I can do whatever I wanted. So likewise, I think if you go to the presentation slide, so so the clear text, maybe this slide you are able to see now, right? Unencrypted MQTT traffic. This is the vulnerability which the PCAP evidence I showed now. So where that username is admin and password is password 23. It's a very clear text. This can be mitigated by using either you can use that recommendations will use MQTT over TLS. Likewise, I mean, this kind of security aspects we have to be put in place, and we should ensure that I mean the passwords or any communication should not go in the plain text. So likewise, that there is a weak authentication patterns. You can able to see where the PCAP evidence and that attempted connections in 42 connections within 60 seconds. So where the credentials are tried, admin and root actually this sample pickup it is there. Maybe I'll go to and open that. This is the data exfiltration. So if you see this packet and I can able to see the statistics, and I can able to show that I think how many connections are happened. Not this, I think. Not this, I think. This is the temperature and humidity it is going on. Maybe that one I'll failed connect, no delay, and the credentials will be that particular device. This is the kind of weak authentications, like they can brute force him, and finally he'll try multiple try accounts like admin, root, and guest like that. I mean, multiple tries he will do. I can able to monitor over here. Like this is the monitoring tool where we can able to monitor all the related packets which is happened between the client and server, like your sensors to your applications, and I can able to monitor over here. And this is for both purposes. My attacker also can able to use this tools, and he can able to identify things and go on. And that administrator also, they can able to use these kind of tools, and they can able to identify the vulnerabilities which is present in the network, and they can able to prevent it. So likewise they can go for. So another one is that botnet C2C communications. Usually you all heard about that botnet, the command and control server, where some of the devices will be controlled by some external parties, and he is consistently having the connection cell reversal exploitations, and he will do the exploit, and he will take control of the server, and he will do whatever he wanted. Like these are all the detection signatures we can able to use it, like regular interval connections to external C2. And we should do the payload analysis, like where the payload is, like this is the kind of payload. Suppose if you see the data, this is the data where the payload has to be analyzed. These are the transmission control packets. So this data will be the payload. The remaining all things will be the headers, whatever we are able to see. Like you can see that IP protocol, what is the best sense and everything. So like TCP, you can able to see all the packet streams, and what port it is, what destination it is accessing, and all those information we'll able to get it from here. So see exfiltrated data. These are all the data which is exfiltrated from your place to some other places. So finally, that simulation tool which I has, like maybe this tool is not fully functional now. Actually, I am working on this tool, and we are my team is also working, and they're developing this kind of a simulation tool where the lack of data sets is there, right? So we are working into that simulation tool where we can able to have all those sensors and all those edge devices into picture, and we can have a gateway, and we can able to simulate the live environment data, and we can have those data sets for future purposes, like AI based techniques we can evolve for those data sets we can able to generate it by this tool. Soon I think we are going to deliver this tool in a GitHub and open source aspects, and it is going on. So probably within 2 or 3 months time, and we'll full-fledged development will complete it, and we'll go for the open source uh, uh, contribution. So that's all from my side. I think sorry for the delay, 10 minutes it was taken. So it's maybe I'm not expert like you guys, like you are all veteran in professional in teaching. Maybe I'm not from that background. I think maybe if any doubts or if anything, I think please get back to me. This is my email ID. Please note it down. If any doubts related to security aspects in IoT, not only IoT, like general IT aspects. I mean, I am there to help you out, and possible mitigation techniques, or if any further requirements, I can able to help out. So thank you all. Thanks for wonderful day. I think thanks for an opportunity for me to speak at this forum. And
Participants, any questions?
any questions, or please think.
Any questions you're free to ask. If no questions. Any questions? So if no queries, we can wind up, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation.
Thank you,
You
ma'am. Thank
have
you so much.
explained in detail what is cybersecurity, what are the different types of attacks, and how it is, and also you have given some demo based on your expertise. So I hope participants have gained the benefit from this. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. If anything, I think please contact to my email ID, trupati@net, where I can able to help you out and reply for that if any doubts. Thanks, ma'am. Thank you all. I think whoever has
Thank
participated in this event, I think thanks.
thank you. I thank all the participants. And tomorrow again, tomorrow
Huh?
we'll join at 2 o'clock. So we'll be having three
Same
sessions.
story.
First session will be
What to do? Oh God.
by Dr. Rashmiya from Krishi Vijnana Kendra, Mangalore. And next session will be by Dr. Mallikarjuna L, who is also a scientist at Krishi Vijnana Kendra, Mangalore. And followed by, we have a session by Mr. Harish Nirmakar, who is a entrepreneur at Accolades Solutions, Mangalore. Thank you all. You can wind the session.